Hi there. Thanks for tuning in. Today, we're going to be doing an analysis and valuation of Biote Corporation. So let's get started. Now, Biote is a leader in hormone optimization. So they have a bunch of practitioners, they have a bunch of procedures already performed. They have a revenue of $185 million, EBITDA of $55 million. That makes it a margin of about 30%. They are basically the largest company in this space. They have seven competitors. However, the nearest competitor has practitioners in the hundreds, not in the thousands. So that's important to note. So, what's the importance of hormone optimization? Well, basically, as you age, you will have hormone imbalance. So, if you're over the age of 45, a bunch of men run the risk of being affected by low testosterone. Same with women once they reach menopause. There's a bunch of hormonal imbalances that can happen, and that increases the risk of a bunch of things. So this addresses this. It optimizes the hormones in order to give you a better later life. This is incredibly relevant. This is going to be even more relevant in the future if you think of it, as the world's old population actually grows, it doesn't shrink. So technologies like these are increasingly relevant and important, and so will this company be. Now, what do they do? Well, they are a leader in hormone optimization with a growing market. They have proprietary technology, clinical education, and training platforms, and they have a very capital light business model. Now, that's interesting. So, we go to the 10K and let's just talk about what they do, how they actually make money. So, they have a high growth practice building business within the hormone optimization space, basically similar to a franchise model. So, if I'm a practitioner and I want to do hormone replacement therapy, well, I would basically be talking to Biote. I would become a practitioner, and I would pay them to become a practitioner, to take their courses, to be educated. And of course, their courses offer me an edge because it's the latest technology, because they have algorithms that help tune those hormones, and that may not be provided by other sources. Now, that is important, but what's important is I'm paying them and I'm also selling products of theirs, such as supplements, for example, dietary supplements or hormones, etc. This means that Biote is capital light because they don't pay the medical practitioners. In fact, the medical practitioners pay them, and they don't own a bunch of other things. They don't own those clinics that people go to, for example. So that's super interesting. So this is really similar to a franchise model that you would see in a restaurant or something like that. Super, super interesting. And they basically have this huge network of 7,100 practitioners. They have it's all based on proprietary technology, and as I said, they customize treatment therapies based on algorithms. So it's leveraging technology to give very personalized care and being able to license that out to the practitioners that want to do it. Now, they also, as I said, they sell these dietary supplements and do all these things. Sometimes they're complementary, sometimes they're not. And this is extra revenue. So those are their two sources of revenue, is the franchising and then all of these nutraceuticals is what they call them. Now, if we look at their financial results, we see that, as we said, they have 185 million in revenue, and for next year they'll have about 200 million to 204 million. So there will still be quite a bit of growth there, not as massive as previous years as we'll see, but that's normal. Now, they also want to invest in organic investments and they've started repurchasing shares. So they authorized a $20 million share repurchase program. We love to see that. I love having my shares repurchased, especially with companies like this that are micro caps. The whole point is you want a micro cap to grow and grow quicker than they can dilute you, or hopefully not dilute you at all. So this is lovely to see because they're not diluting me at all. Now, their revenue has been growing consistently in the double digits all the way from 2019 to 2023. Now it may drop below double digits. That's fine by me. But look at their margins. Their gross margin is insane. And this is what we were talking about of the capital light business. So their margins are just growing, growing, growing. Same with the operating margin struggled a little bit. They do have overhead costs related to going public. That's where you saw it in 2022. They went public and they have a lot of costs there. They had a negative year too. But in general, the picture now is that they struggled a little bit in 2022. They went public, so there was some stuff going on there. They issued a lot of shares. Now in 2023, they're back to operating as usual. They're back to profitability. There's no real reason why that would stop, really. I want to do a discounted cash flow valuation to show quantitatively how much it's worth. This model is going to be pretty simple. I'm going to say about 10% of revenue is going to become free cash flow. I'm grabbing roughly this $200 million revenue for 2024 and then just growing that by 7% from 2024 to 2027. From there on, I'm going to say it's going to grow about 3% in perpetuity. It's probably going to be more, but we're doing this because it's an infinite number almost. Then, the required rate of return I have is 11%. That's 1% more per year than the market in general, and that adds up to be quite a lot. And now I'm going to have that number the, of today's value divided by the total number of shares out. It gives me a fair value of equity of $11.15 a share. However, we have to subtract the net debt, of which they have a little bit, and we get a fair value post debt of $8.05. Now let's see where Biote is right now. So, first of all, what an interesting journey that this company has had. They went public as a SPAC, so SPACs were capped at $10 and then just sort of crashed down, cratered down. And 2022 was a rough year for them, so I do understand. From there on, they've been bouncing, maybe a very slow recovery. If you bought here in 2023, you probably did pretty good so far. Even better if you sold over here. But yeah, I mean, $6 is right now a pretty reasonable level, honestly. Even if the P looks pretty high, based on their cash flow, it's very interesting to me. And the market cap is $325 million, pretty much a microcap company. And that makes it very interesting to me because their market cap is basically going to be about, or the revenue is going to be two-thirds of the market cap. So that's something very important to take note of. I mean, these numbers are pretty interesting here. This is a pretty good opportunity as a microcap. So let's talk about it. So Biote represents a potentially undervalued microcap given share repurchases and future growth to come, especially because they've performed decently. Risks do exist in this industry. Competitors may develop innovative solutions that provide them further growth in Biote, but Biote has a head start that may be very hard to bridge, and that head start gives them money, gives them resources to do future research, and to network further. The return to profitability does bode well for its investors, but you should follow the quarterly reports super carefully if you invest in this company to see how this changes. Hopefully, it's an improving trend because if not, you may be concerned with what Biote is doing. And you should also keep a close eye on stock-based compensation because now that they're public, they're giving out a lot of that. I accounted for this in my model, but if you see this increase drastically, that could be a red flag because then they're not really generating free cash flow. So, overall, you have to ask with every company what makes this business model great. What I've found about Biote is that their business model is great because they provide education and franchise stuff out, so then they don't have to pay for a lot of overhead in general. And I was really impressed by that. So I think Biote is not only a very interesting healthcare pharma related company, but one with an interesting business model. That's what makes it attractive to me. Now, I hope you learned a lot from watching this video. I hope that you get a lot out of future videos. So please like and subscribe so you can be notified for future videos. And with that said, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.